Hey guys, welcome to the Savvy Programmer. My name is RB, and we're gonna go ahead and discuss about Swift, the programming language for iOS, and it's a lot of fun. And you need this language, and you need to understand it very well in order to understand how to create an app. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we're gonna discuss about Swift, and we're gonna discuss three different things. We're gonna discuss how to create basically single line comments, multiple line comments, variables, and we're gonna also learn about some data types such as strings, integers, floats, and double. So let's go ahead and get started. If you don't have Xcode right now, or you actually are new to this whole series, I would suggest you actually go ahead and start with the first tutorial where I'm going to discuss how to download Xcode and also how to install it. It does take 2 hours to install, so I do suggest you install it before you start this tutorial. So let's go ahead and start the Xcode. Just press Command and spacebar and type in Xcode, and that should pop up Xcode. And I have already this open, but what you need to do is you go to File, New, and you press Playground, and you choose the blank, and you choose iOS, and press Next. And then when you get Next, you just choose the name of it, and press OK, and you should be back at where I'm at right now. So let's go ahead and start. So first, I want to discuss about single line and multiple line comments. So the single line comment is basically, it's not a code, it's actually just a writing. So you're writing something to another developer so they would understand your code. So if you have something that you've written and it's hard to understand, you want to write some code just to some comments just to kind of help the other developer. So when you want to write a one-line comment, you start with 2 forward slashes, and then you type in anything you want, like developer, this is a function or whatever. Anyway, so basically you do that, you get the point. And then if you want to have multiple line comments, so if you want the comment to be on multiple lines, you start with a forward slash, then you start an asterisk, and then you write your comment, and then you end it with a asterisk and backslash. So those are comments. Okay, let's go ahead and discuss something that's very important in Swift, is called variables. Variables are basically the way you store data, and data types are the types of data that you store. And each data type requires different amount of memory. So I'm going to go ahead and discuss, we don't want to get too much details into memory, but I want to discuss exactly what data types and memory is. So let's go ahead and say, like, for example, if you were to have like a sticky note, right? And then on sticky note, you write your name. So I'm going to write a name, and I'm going to say Joe, right? So this is the sticky note name, and this is the name that you wrote on it. So you're holding that name on the sticky note. It's kind of like you actually have this data that you're assigning to that sticky note, right? So if you think about the name as a sticky note, you can go ahead and also change that. And if you say name, you want it to be Jack, right? But look at this. So Swift gets really mad at you and says cannot assign to value name is a let constant. So what this means is we decided to choose with the keyword let tells you that this variable cannot be changed. It's a constant. So when something is a constant, you can only declare it once and you cannot declare it again. So that's what constants are. And if it's if I wanted to change this, I would just press this button. Actually, Swift has a way to auto fix your problem. So when you have like an error with a red dot, you just press on it and it tells you, it gives you suggestions. Says change let to var to make it mutable. So mutable is, I want to be able to change it. Mutable is mutable, and then there's immutable, which cannot be changed. So I'm going to go ahead and say fix. So when I fix it, it starts with a keyword var, and that what that means is now I can go ahead and change this name as many times as I want. You know. So basically, I can just change the name over and over and over. But what the computer will understand is the last one. So if I were to change it to 10 million times, the last one that I change is what the computer will register. So that's kind of like the variable. So let's go ahead and talk about what data types are. There's several different data types. If you look at a book, right, you have written words. So that's series of characters. That's a string. So when I assign the name to the variable, it was a string. But if I were to just assign one letter, that's a character. And Swift is a strongly typed language. What that means is it determines the type. So it knows that this type is already a character. And if I were to, I can also specify with a colon that it is a character, just like that. So that's the first data type, and two data. So you know two data types now. You know this character, and you also know string. So string is again series of characters, and character is just one letter. So also there's another data type called bool. Bool is basically either true or false. So you can also denote it as zeros and ones too. But if I say zero, so here, another thing I was gonna tell you is when you have a string, you can have multiple lines of strings, and if you were to like put this in multiple lines, let's say you have this as a string, and you wanted to put it on multiple lines. See, like Swift doesn't like it because it's so what you need to do is put 3 quotation marks, start with 3 quotation marks and end with 3 quotation marks, because now it's a multi-line and it tells you like you need to insert some space before and after. Swift is very picky with spaces, so make sure every time you write something you have a space before and after. And also when you write equal, you need also space before and after. And also it's also good to have a space before each colons. So far we learned about a Boolean, and now let's go ahead and talk about integers, double, and floats. So integers are basically whole numbers, like I said. There's a int max that we can actually print. So you can, maximum integer that you can print is basically, so if I go ahead and print this, it's 9 billion or something like that. It's really long. So you want, if you wanted to use a double, usually whenever you want to use a double is when you have something with decimals and you want two precision, like you want the most precision decimal like that. So it's a double. When it's a float, it's a 1 precision, 1 digit to the right. So that's the difference between float and double. And double takes more memory. It depends on the computer. So sometimes like it takes 32 bits and sometimes 64. So on a 64-bit, it will take 64. And then there's the float would take 32. And then the int is a 16-bit. So basically, you also always want to like look at your code and say, okay, do I want a whole number, or do I want a number with a decimal? So usually, like if you're doing like calculation with taxes or a dollar amount, then you would use double. Or if you have like something like a value, like you know when we have like that in the game, the guessing game, when we have that slider, then you would use a double or float. But double would be more precise, like if you really want a precise number. So that's that. And then the print is basically what I'm doing is printing whatever is in this beginning parentheses and closing parentheses, and it prints that to the console. This is the console. And I can also tell it to print even like a string. So you know a string starts with a quotation mark and ends with a quotation mark. If I were to print like just a character, you can do that. So, and there's also a way to print what's, like if I wanted to print a variable. So what I have to do is I have to start with a / and open parentheses, close parentheses, and then just type in the, I always forget. It's always the other slash is it's backslash. Use of on result. So it's telling me that this is okay because I don't have it. Yeah, okay. All right, so test. Okay. So what I'm doing is right now is I'm printing the variable. So if you look at the console, I'm printing the variable right here. So if I were to like, I can also print another variable like test true or something, and boolean. I don't need to say boolean, I can just say true, right? I can go ahead and just do this and just put that inside the function, and it would tell me, it would basically give me the value. This is actually used for this kind of purposes. Let's say you have like let's say name is Joe, and today is Monday, right? So that kind of like that. So you want to go ahead and concatenate. It's called concatenation because you're taking the variable and getting the value from the variable and printing it. So what I want to do is hello. So I can mix strings hello with the variables. So I'm concatenating the strings with the variables to get this we're actually going to use a lot in the guessing game, so pay attention. So hello, the name, right? So we're going to put name. Today is today, right? So that's going to say hello Joe, today is Monday. So there you go. So that completes the tutorial for today. And so we kind of discussed kind of a brief overview of Swift, the programming language for iOS. And we discussed the data types, commenting, single comment and multiple comments. And we also discussed concatenation and also about variables. So remember, there's a let and there's a var. Let is constant, var is mutable, so you can actually change it multiple times. Thank you for watching the tutorial, and if you go ahead and subscribe to see more tutorials coming in this series for the gaming. So we're going to complete this guessing game, and press that bell to get notified for many updates of the videos. I usually update Monday or Sunday usually, so today's Monday, then I'm updating. All right, have a good one.